The cold silence of the conference room was broken only by the soft hum of holographic displays. Admiral J. Park stood motionless, his dark eyes scanning the intricate data streams flickering across the transparent screens. Something felt wrong. The subtle dance of interstellar diplomacy had changed its rhythm, and he could sense it. For months, the Galactic Council had been hosting seemingly routine diplomatic meetings. Representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations would gather, discuss trade routes, resolve minor conflicts, and maintain the delicate balance of galactic politics. But today, something was different. The communications between different delegations carried an undercurrent of tension that even the most sophisticated translation algorithms couldn't fully decode. J. Park had risen through Earth's military ranks not just because of his strategic brilliance, but because of his uncanny ability to read between the lines. His years of experience had taught him that the most dangerous conversations were often the quietest ones. He pulled up a series of encrypted communication logs. Most would see nothing unusual, but Park's trained eye caught the microscopic patterns. Coded messages were being exchanged through seemingly innocent diplomatic channels. Subtle shifts in communication protocols. Slight alterations in transmission frequencies that would go unnoticed by standard monitoring systems. Earth had always been an outsider in the Galactic Council. Humans were relatively new to interstellar politics, having achieved faster-than-light travel only decades ago. Their rapid technological advancement and aggressive expansion had made many older civilizations nervous. Some saw humans as potential competitors, others as potential threats. Park knew the whispers, the rumors that circulated in diplomatic corridors about human unpredictability, how quickly they had developed technologies that took other civilizations centuries to achieve, how their military strategies defied traditional galactic warfare doctrines. He began preparing a confidential report, knowing that conventional channels might be compromised. Using a quantum-encrypted communication system developed by Earth's most advanced research teams, he started transmitting preliminary intelligence to key military and government leaders. The data suggested a coordinated effort to isolate human colonies. Trade routes were subtly being redirected. Diplomatic support was being withdrawn. Economic sanctions were being quietly prepared. It wasn't an open declaration of hostility, but a calculated strategy of slow marginalization. Park's team began running advanced predictive models. AI systems analyzed billions of potential scenarios, mapping out potential strategic responses. They weren't preparing for war, not yet, but they were ensuring they wouldn't be caught unprepared. Military installations across human-controlled space began receiving coded instructions. Supply lines were diversified. Communication networks were reinforced. Defensive systems were quietly upgraded. To an outside observer, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But beneath the surface, humanity was preparing its armor. The Admiral knew that information was the most powerful weapon. And right now, they needed to gather as much as possible without alerting potential adversaries. Every transmission, every diplomatic note, every trade agreement was now a potential source of critical intelligence. As the holographic displays continued their silent dance of data, J. Park allowed himself a thin, calculated smile. Whatever was coming, humanity would be ready. They had survived and thrived in the harshest environments on Earth. The vastness of space would be no different. The galaxy might think it could outmaneuver humanity, but Park knew better. They were about to learn a very important lesson about underestimating a species born from survival, innovation, and an unbreakable spirit of resilience. In the quiet of the command center, with only the soft hum of advanced technology surrounding him, Admiral J. Park continued his silent vigil. The first moves in a game far larger than anyone yet realized were already being made, and humanity was just getting started. The first explosions came without warning. Brilliant flashes of nuclear-grade energy erupted across human orbital installations, transforming peaceful space stations into burning graveyards of twisted metal and shattered dreams. Commander Hyun Kim was in the secondary command center when the alerts first screamed across communication systems. Emergency protocols activated instantly, red warning lights casting sharp crimson shadows across computer terminals. His hands moved with practiced precision, fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Defensive grid activation sequence initiated, he called out, his voice calm despite the chaos erupting around him. 3 major orbital stations had already been obliterated in the first wave of attacks. Thousands of human personnel were gone in milliseconds, vaporized before they could even comprehend what was happening. The alien coalition's attack was meticulously planned. They had studied human defensive systems, identified key vulnerabilities, and struck with surgical precision. Multiple fleet groups emerged from hyperspace vectors, their weapon signatures unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Kim's team was different. While other military commanders might panic, they had been preparing for scenarios like this. Hidden communication networks, quantum encrypted and decentralized, began transmitting emergency activation codes to reserve fleets stationed in remote star systems. Mobilize Phantom Squadron, Kim ordered. Activate secondary defensive perimeters. Massive battleships that had been disguised as civilian transport vessels suddenly transformed. Adaptive armor plates shifted, weapon systems unfolded from seemingly innocent cargo holds. These were humanity's secret weapons, ships designed to be invisible until the moment of attack. The alien fleet believed they were executing a knockout blow. They were wrong. Each destroyed space station triggered automated emergency protocols. Backup systems, hidden in asteroid belts and distant moon bases, roared to life. Weapon platforms that had been quietly waiting for decades suddenly powered up, their targeting systems cold and precise. Hyun Kim watched as the first counterattack began. Human ships, using quantum-entangled communication networks, moved with a coordination that seemed almost supernatural. Where alien vessels expected chaos, they found a perfectly synchronized defensive matrix. Smaller human fighter squadrons darted between massive battleships, using advanced electronic warfare techniques to confuse and disrupt alien targeting systems. Each maneuver was calculated, each movement part of a larger strategic dance that the alien coalition hadn't anticipated. Reroute power from non-critical systems, Kim commanded. Prepare quantum disruption weapons. The battle wasn't just about destroying enemy ships. It was about sending a message. Humanity would not be an easy target. They would fight. They would survive. As hours passed, the initial shock of the surprise attack transformed into a calculated human response. Reserve fleets emerged from hidden jump points, their weapon systems primed and ready. The aliens had expected a quick victory. Instead, they found themselves facing a technologically adaptive enemy that refused to be defeated. Commander Kim's eyes reflected the ongoing battle, explosions of alien vessels, the strategic retreat and advance of human squadrons. This was more than a military engagement. This was humanity's declaration to the galaxy. We are here, we are stronger than you think, and we will not be broken. The first contact of destruction had begun, and humanity was just getting started. The universe watched in silent anticipation as Captain Yun Choi unleashed humanity's most guarded technological secret. What had been whispered about in classified research labs was now becoming a terrifying reality for the alien coalition. Modular warships began transforming mid-battle, their adaptive hull structures shifting like living metal. Where traditional spacecraft had rigid designs, these human vessels could reconfigure themselves instantly. Weapon systems emerged from seemingly impossible locations, quantum disruption technology pulsing with an energy that defied conventional physics. Initiate adaptive combat sequence. Choi's voice was calm, almost clinical as her fingers touched holographic interfaces. Artificial intelligence networks, developed in secret over decades, began processing battle scenarios faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. The alien fleets had expected a straightforward military engagement. Instead, they encountered a nightmare of technological innovation. Quantum adaptive weapon systems didn't just destroy. They predicted and neutralized threats before they could even materialize. Each human ship became a living, thinking entity. AI combat algorithms analyzed millions of potential scenarios in microseconds. Where alien tacticians relied on centuries-old strategic doctrines, human technology rewrote the rules of engagement moment by moment. Swarms of smaller drone vessels emerged from larger ships, moving with a coordinated intelligence that seemed almost supernatural. They didn't just attack, they learned. Each encounter modified their approach, making them increasingly dangerous with every passing second. Captain Choi watched as entire alien battle groups became confused. Their traditional targeting systems couldn't lock onto human vessels that constantly shifted their energy signatures. Quantum-entangled communication networks allowed human ships to share information and adapt instantaneously. Tactical reconfiguration complete, her AI assistant reported. The words were almost unnecessary. The battlefield was already transforming. Alien commanders watched in horror as their most advanced warships were systematically dismantled, not through brute force, but through an intelligent, adaptive strategy that anticipated their every move. Weapon systems that had been devastating in previous conflicts became obsolete against humanity's technological marvel. The quantum disruption technology was particularly terrifying. It didn't just destroy physical structures. It could momentarily disconnect molecular bonds, causing entire spacecraft to literally fall apart at the atomic level. What would have taken conventional weapons entire battles to achieve was now happening in mere moments. Strategic algorithms outmaneuvered traditional combat approaches with ruthless efficiency. Where alien tacticians saw patterns, human AI saw infinite possibilities. Each battle became a complex chess match where humanity held all the unexpected moves. Adaptive defense protocols activated, Choi announced, her voice steady despite the overwhelming technological display happening around her. Entire enemy formations were being neutralized without seemingly firing a single concentrated shot. The alien coalition had believed they were attacking a young, inexperienced species. Instead, they had awakened a technological titan that had been quietly preparing, watching, and waiting. Massive energy signatures erupted across multiple star systems. Alien fleets that had confidently entered the battle were now retreating in complete disarray. Their communication networks were being systematically invaded and disrupted by human AI systems that moved faster than organic thought. Captain Yun Choi allowed herself a momentary smile. This wasn't just a battle. This was a technological revolution that would reshape galactic understanding forever. The message was clear. Humanity was not just another species to be conquered. They were a force that would define the future of interstellar conflict. And they were just beginning to show what they could truly do. The silence before the counter-offensive was more terrifying than any weapon. Lieutenant Sung Min understood that true warfare was won not just through force, but through intelligent, calculated precision. Special operations teams moved like ghosts through alien communication networks. Trained in advanced infiltration technologies, they weren't just soldiers. They were digital phantoms capable of penetrating the most secure systems without leaving a trace. Advanced holographic camouflage made human operatives invisible to conventional scanning technologies. Where alien security systems expected physical intrusions, these teams moved through digital landscapes, rewriting communication protocols and disrupting strategic command structures. Lieutenant Min's primary strategy wasn't destruction, it was psychological destabilization. Each infiltration was carefully designed to create maximum confusion. Communication channels between alien fleet commanders became unreliable. Strategic coordinates were subtly altered. Encrypted messages were intercepted and manipulated. The first signs of humanity's counteroffensive were so subtle that most alien commanders didn't realize they were under attack until critical systems began failing simultaneously. Power grids in key administrative centers went offline. Weapon system calibrations became inexplicably incorrect. Communication relays transmitted conflicting orders. Target acquisition complete. Min's digital interface displayed intricate network maps showing human infiltration progress. Each green marker represented a successfully compromised alien communication hub. Precision strikes followed psychological disruption. Instead of massive destructive attacks, human forces targeted specific infrastructure points. A single communication relay here, a power distribution center there. Each strike calculated to cause maximum strategic disruption with minimal physical damage. Alien military leadership found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't comprehend. Traditional warfare doctrines became useless against an opponent who could simultaneously attack and defend across multiple dimensions: physical, digital, and psychological. Quantum encrypted communication networks allowed human forces to coordinate with unprecedented efficiency. Where alien commands required complex bureaucratic approvals, human teams could adapt and respond in milliseconds. Lieutenant Min watched as entire alien administrative systems began collapsing from within. Not through direct military conflict, but through intelligent, surgical interventions that undermined their fundamental operational capabilities. Special teams infiltrated key council communication centers, replacing critical data streams with carefully constructed misinformation. Alien fleet commanders received contradictory orders. Strategic defense protocols were subtly rewritten to create internal confusion. The human approach was elegant in its simplicity: destroy the enemy's ability to organize before they even realize they're under attack. Technological superiority wasn't just about advanced weapons. It was about understanding complex systems and knowing exactly where to apply minimal pressure to create maximum disruption. As the counter-offensive progressed, alien military leadership began experiencing systematic breakdowns. Communication networks became unreliable. Strategic coordination collapsed. What seemed like a unified coalition quickly dissolved into fragmented, confused groups. Lieutenant Sung Min's strategy demonstrated a fundamental truth. True military superiority wasn't about overwhelming force, but intelligent, precision-based intervention. The Galactic Council was about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humanity's technological and strategic capabilities. And they were only seeing the beginning of what humans could truly accomplish. The diplomatic chamber was silent, tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Admiral J. Park stood at the center, his presence commanding more respect than any formal title could convey. Representatives from multiple alien civilizations sat in stunned silence. The massive holographic displays showed comprehensive evidence of humanity's technological supremacy, not just in military capabilities, but in strategic thinking that had completely dismantled their collective military infrastructure. Your actions were a direct violation of interstellar diplomatic protocols, Park stated, his voice calm and measured. Each word carried the weight of the destruction they had witnessed during the conflict. The Galactic Council's representatives looked defeated. Their sophisticated military systems, developed over thousands of years, had been systematically neutralized by a species they had considered young and inexperienced. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had demonstrated a level of technological and strategic innovation that rewrote the rules of interstellar conflict. Park's terms were straightforward and non-negotiable. Comprehensive reparations would be paid. Diplomatic recognition of human sovereignty was mandatory. Any future interactions would be conducted on humanity's terms. "We are not seeking revenge," Park continued. "We are establishing a new framework of interstellar cooperation, one built on mutual respect and technological understanding." The proposed restructuring was elegant in its simplicity. Humanity would be recognized as a dominant strategic power, but not as a colonizing force. Their goal was protection, not expansion. Economic trade routes would be reopened, but with strict guidelines that prevented potential future betrayals. Quantum communication networks, developed during the conflict, would become the new standard for interstellar communication. Human-developed adaptive technologies would be made available, at a price, to other civilizations willing to engage in peaceful dialogue. The alien representatives realized they were not negotiating a surrender, but witnessing the birth of a new galactic order. Humanity had not just survived, They had transformed the entire strategic landscape. Technological adaptation had been their ultimate weapon. Where other civilizations saw limitations, humans saw opportunities. Their ability to learn, modify, and improve at unprecedented speeds had become their greatest strength. Admiral Park's final statement was a clear message to the entire galaxy. Humanity will protect its interests. We will collaborate when possible. We will defend ourselves without hesitation when necessary. The restructuring wasn't just a military victory. It was a fundamental shift in how interstellar relationships would be conducted. Humanity had proven that innovation, strategic thinking, and unwavering determination could overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. As the diplomatic session concluded, one thing became crystal clear. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. They were no longer a young, inexperienced species. They were a force to be recognized, respected, and carefully understood. The epilogue was written not in blood, but in the language of technological innovation and strategic brilliance. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they were here to stay.